Okay, good afternoon, folks, and welcome to Smudcast number 510, How King of the Hill Uses Politics. Now, even though we're looking at a screen that has Family Guy, I'm not sure why, it is about King of the Hill, and let me just check this stats on this video. Came out last year in November, it has about 20,000 views, from the Roundtable, and I think we've covered Roundtable's videos before. I don't remember if we hated it or didn't like it. There was some degree of like meh to like ugh.
I can't remember Roundtable at all.
Yeah.
Just like the only table I remember is Roundtable. That's like an entirely different beast.
Yeah. So why do they call each other tables? I don't know.
What's this sensation about tables? Maybe both of them are carpenters.
Yeah, maybe there's this whole symbolism in like Karl Marx's books where it's like tables and chairs. There's this big...
We must seize the tables.
Something about the home and hearth, that's this sacred thing. Like, so the kitchen table is the place where all decisions are made, or something like that. So, don't know, but okay, it's a different guy for sure. But, yeah, the politics of King of the Hill. I've only seen a few episodes of King of the Hill back in the day. I don't even know if it's still on, and didn't really pick up on any of it. Didn't even know politics were in the show, to be honest. So maybe using a political lens is more is more accurate. It's gonna shed some light on some stuff happening in those times of the show is being made. Couldn't tell you.
From like the episodes that I've seen, like they were like always in the background. Like they like addressed like some current day issues or like some trends, but it was never in your face.
Yeah,
like it needs to be like discussed that way.
Yeah, I remember it as a pretty okay, not too exciting kind of comedy sitcom for the family.
It was very dry too.
Yeah, it was pretty slow. So if you like that kind of humor, it's right up your alley. But it's very like relaxed and slow, and it depict the Southern American form of, I don't know, family Arizona area. I don't know where it takes place. But Hicks-like conversations took place of people talking over a beer on the fence with another neighbor about God knows what, and that's what it reminded me of. So just a family, neighborly get together, people shooting the shit, and then the son gets in trouble or something. So it felt like a more modern version of The Simpsons without being crazy, which might make it a bit boring for some people as a result. So, but we don't know yet. So we're going to find out how this is going to turn out. I'm sure we'll be able to finish it today. It's not too long, unless he has ridiculous takes, but we'll find out. Anyway, 16 minutes and a half. Here we go.
A lot of adult comedies and animation, but I don't think any cartoon executes the adult and the comedy quite like King of the Hill. It's a show that's not afraid to be crude or talk about explicit subject matter, but it also makes constructive social commentary through multi-dimensional characters. My name is Tom, and today I'm going to talk about one of my favorite shows of all time. That might come as a surprise to some and make perfect sense to others. It's no secret, I have a habit of being very political on Maine. The comment section for this one is going to be nuts. So what does this have to do with King of the Hill? Well, King of the Hill's entire premise is immersed in socio-political framing. If you ask me to describe King of the Hill to someone who has never seen it, I would describe it as a white Texan man trying to live out the American dream as he is forced to confront the changing world at odds between his traditional conservative upbringing and sensibilities against his own moral compass, knowing what is right and what is wrong.
Okay, but what does that have to do with politics? If that's the premise of the show, he's just saying this is a character with morals and ethics. Like, yeah, that's every character. They have morals and ethics. This just happens to be about the American dream, which is not really a political statement. It's just, come to America, work hard, and you'll earn the fruits of your labor. That's pretty much it. Nothing to do with politics, per se. So, what is this show about? To him, at least.
and being put in situations where he has to reflect on the values that himself and his community tend to default to. And the fact that King of the Hill is a show centered around southern white rednecks can make it a tough sell to people who have never seen it before, and it's even gotten me some strange reactions, because how does someone who is extremely left, like me, manage to identify with and invest in a show with an aesthetic of conservative values? Well, for a few reasons. For one, it is kind of vindicating to see these characters slowly shift more socially left, or at least become more accepting over time. But more prominently, I think it's class solidarity for me. Hank Hill is a very honest and intelligent man, who has a lot of values that feel outdated or are just straight up ignorant, which is what makes him simultaneously hilarious and kind of endearing. But despite being so socially conservative, he's actually a lot more fiscally progressive than I think even most.
So I don't understand. Socially conservative, fiscally progressive. Does that mean he likes paying taxes, or he advocates for more social programs? Like, what is? It's a family life story. What a guy getting by, and the comedy that ensues from slice of life events. Does he go to like political rallies, and does he vote on legislature? Like, what are you talking about? And what would it matter if he was either or, if the story is about daily life? Like, who cares? I like Trump, okay? And?
Yes.
What's the point? I don't get it. Anyway. Oh, boy. Oh, hey, how's it going, AJ? You okay?
I'm finally back.
Yeah, do you know anything about King of the Hill, or...
I'm actually in the middle of watching the show with my roommate. We're on season 5.
Oh, really? Wow. How long has it been going on?
Oh, gosh. It is a... I have the DVDs right here. I'll tell you how many seasons there are.
Okay, so huge.
There are 13 seasons? 13?
All right. So is it still going, or are we done?
It's done now. It was like a 90s sitcom.
Yeah.
And I think it ended in the mid 2000s.
Oh, wow. It's been gone for a while. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
There's
Interesting.
always rumors going around that it's coming back, but they're usually fake. Like, I know there was a photoshopped picture of like the characters but older.
Mm-hmm.
But that was, I'm pretty sure that was proven to not be true.
Interesting. All right. Well, the show doesn't seem, as dangerous as some might think. It just reminds me of a lighter version of The Simpsons, and not as wacky, not as crazy.
So the running gag is that Hank Hill is the straight man to everybody else's insanity. But what's funny about it is that there are certain episodes where sometimes Hank is considered to be so mundane and traditional that it's actually a problem, where he's the ridiculous one.
Okay.
But that was about as far as it went. In terms of politics, there were some, every once in a while, they would have there would be like a feminist character that he's the straight man against, or there would be like there was that one Chris Rock episode. It wasn't a great episode, but it was all right.
Yeah.
Where he was like the straight man to, like, Chris Rock was making fun of white people, and Hank was taking it personally, but everyone else wasn't. So that was the joke there. So it never really got political, other than there was an episode that was about the election with Bush. And what happened was Hank wanted to vote for Bush until he shook his hand, and then he found out that he had a wimpy handshake, and then he got insecure about his support for him. So that was funny. that was a funny episode. But it was very harmless in terms of politics. It was never in your face about anything.
Yeah.
That sounds a lot like what you can see in Bucky in terms of politics, because like in Bucky, Hama does have these real life political characters, especially like the American politics, and like you can like see Obama, Trump, and even Biden now, but like it never goes to the point that like, oh well, I want to like simp for this president election.
Yeah, a lot of
it's like the father character like kind of like makes each and every president his bitch. So
Yeah, there's a lot of mangas that just throw in presidents and leaders of
But
other
I
countries.
think like the cringe part was like Destiny. I was like, oh god,
I know the
Trump
Boondocks
got
threw in
Biden Death Note.
Obama, and it was pretty funny.
Yeah. All right, here's Mel Gibson after 5 beers. That's a pretty specific YouTube name, but thank you, sir. This guy understands that the show is a comedy, right? Well, okay. Yes, I think he does, and I think he's seeing
This video is a comedy.
Well, we don't know yet. I haven't laughed. I think because he may not understand the satire of what's happening, and that you can get away with political messages or under the rug sort of stories because it's satire, because it's just poking fun at something. And I don't think that's happening in most cases. I think they're just trying attempts at humor with the whole southern redneck vibe. And who is the crazy one? Is it his neighbors? Is it his friends? Is it the son? Is it him? And who's the joke being played on? How are they reacting to a scenario which the average viewer would be like, yeah, just go help the person out, as opposed to, oh my God, he's a communist, or whatever political message might be. So that's how I tended to view the show, but it didn't really bother me. It didn't really excite me either. It was just fine, whatever. All right.
Liberals. So before I get into the examples, Dog, what are you doing? I just want to preface that King of the Hill has had a ton of episodes, and there's no way within this time frame of the video I'm going to cover every single example. There are many politically charged episodes that I could dive into, but in order to dive into every single one, it would take forever. So instead, I opted to just go for the general idea of why is King of the Hill so political? What about the political framing actually makes King of the Hill a really great show? And why is it that people from all sides of the aisle are able to enjoy it to some degree? So I just kind of want to set the expectations very clearly right now, because there are a lot of episodes that I wish I could have talked about, but there just wasn't enough time, and I didn't want to end up working on this video for the next year, so I tried to focus on the general structure and recurring characters that have some sort of political message built into them. But without further ado, let's get back into it. Everybody knows that Hank Hill sells propane and propane accessories, and he loves it because Hank is passionate about the products he sells and the culture around it. Hank is not only a great salesman of propane, but he cares about the experience of his customers as well as his fellow workers. When a snowstorm hit Arlen, and the people in charge wanted to price gouge since natural gas was in such high demand, Hank spoke up about how predatory it was. And in that specific case, Buck Strickland was in the hospital and had an interim head that didn't care for Hank.
Okay, price gouging has nothing to do with politics. Fine, that's fine, but I'm still waiting.
I don't know. Is he using it as an example, or is he just summarizing the episode before he explains how it's political?
I would assume the summary has to involve his point, and so far,
It sounds to me that like he's already using it as a point.
yeah. But if you summarize a thing, and here's this topic or example of politicizing something, and you're like, sure, okay, that's not a political issue. But okay, maybe he'll get to one. Who knows?
So it's not like in any position to speak up, but he did it anyways, because he cared that much about people over profits, which is pretty based. In the same episode, that interim leadership started putting trackers in the propane trucks to micromanage productivity, and Hank's stated reason for opposing that is because it was a measure that the union fought against. So I can't believe I almost forgot about this. Hank literally worked at a co-op in one episode. A co-op is a
Okay, I
business
guess that
model
was his
where all
explanation. You
employees
can
have a
pause
share
it
in the
here.
business.
Actually, wait, I think I can pause it too, can't I?
Yep.
I'm
Yeah,
not
you
used to
can.
this power. But anyway, the thing about Hank is that the thing about this show is that one of Hank's recurring character traits is that he's very active in his local community. I don't think that necessarily makes it a political show. I think that's just a recurring character trait.
Yeah, he seems like the guy who's enjoys his life. He likes his suburban lifestyle or wherever he is, and he's friends with as many people as he can. He's still a man. He's not taking shit from people, but he's generally a nice guy. And that's pretty much it. He's not, an intellectual. He didn't go to university.
Well, one of the ironic things about him is that he keeps to himself. Like that's one of the things that is actually a running gag is like if someone starts crying, he gets uncomfortable and walks away. Like he just doesn't want to get too personal with people.
Right.
Just to eat, like just does his own thing to the point that it's kind of funny. Like there's an episode where a character starts crying and tries to hug him, and he like gets away. He like gets so uncomfortable that it's like he's being raped or something. It's so funny.
Well, in this case, he's entering a co-op, whatever, and this could be no different than entering a Salvation Army place or a donation place or whatever. So it's like, whoop-de-doo. How is that political, sir? Let's find out. I still don't know.
Yeah.
And share ownership over the means of production, also known as a wet dream for leftists trying to be ethical business owners. And it wasn't like him accidentally smoking weed, he joined a co-op because he agreed with their practices, most prominently the farming practices of their suppliers being far more ethical than Megalomart's.
I don't see what that has to do with politics.
Yeah, this isn't political, this is just a specific plot. It was just a specific conflict that he was trying to overcome. It has nothing to do with politics.
Yeah, you can join a donation center or a soup kitchen or whatever and do work for them and not get paid. That's volunteer work.
Yeah, he's like really involved in business practices. That doesn't make it a political show. That's just a character trait. That's just part of the setting.
Right.
Now, so what? Anything that ever takes place in a business setting is inherently political?
Yeah, the best you could do is maybe a campaign office where he wants to push for a certain message. That could be taken as political, but even then, that's just volunteer work for doing a thing. Like you can go to a church and you can help people and not believe in whatever religion they're touting. It's just you want to help people, and it's over down the street, and you can do it. Or
like there are a little bit of underlying themes. Like one of the characters, Khan, who's Laotian, there is one throwaway line that my roommate and I found really amusing, where he says like, "I'm so sick of people that don't come here legally. Do it the right way." And we were just like, damn, like it was like he just said it out of nowhere, and it was funny because you weren't expecting it. But like so every once in a while, it sort of pushes somewhat of a traditional message, but it's very under the rug. It's not in your face at all.
I think
like
the American dialogue with any topic, it sort of lends itself to political speech just because there's so much stuff regarding American lifestyle that it's always a
plus
topic.
The main character is a traditional American individual, but it's not like an actively political show. Right. It's just that it's sort of based in that mindset.
Yeah, it's kind of like if you have a story in medieval times, you're going to talk about the king and the queen because that's what they had back then in terms of government. So you're going to mention about the lords and the ladies and the knights and all the wars they might be fighting and who do you swear to and all that. Like that's going to pop up because of the setting, but it's not about
kind
that.
of.
Yeah. So here's Porcelainus the Fourth. Interestingly enough, he had the same point as you. The best part about King of the Hill is Cotton Gum being the only one to correctly identify Mr. Khan as being Laotian, whereas
that was funny.
Whereas he pronounces it Laotian, while the other characters think he's Japanese.
Yeah, that is. He's like, so are you Chinese or Japanese?
Yeah.
Yeah, Cotton Hill, because he fought in the war, he recognized what he was. He's like, nah, he's Laotian.
Yeah.
It was funny because he was like really disrespectful toward him, but for some reason he knew he was Laotian, so Khan didn't even know how to react. It's like, this guy's being a dick to me, but he's the only one that knows I'm Laotian. Everyone else is just calling me Chinese.
Nice.
Then when
it's
Hank's
a very
management
easy watch.
skills led to an increase in revenue that went back into improving the business, it got the attention of Megalomart, who offered to buy them out, and who was the only person who didn't want to accept the offer and give up on the principles of the business? Hank Hill. Which tells me that Hank does land a lot farther left in his values than even he realizes.
No, isn't it?
No,
what does that have to do with
not
being
every
left-wing?
like
That's just valuing small businesses.
not every.
And it wasn't even valuing small businesses. It was just that specific business. He was just protecting the interests of that specific business.
You could compare this to like a franchise. Like, say this was a burger joint, like a mom and pop burger corner store or whatever, and McDonald's wanted to buy them out for whatever reason, and Hank goes no. That's no, I don't want McDonald's on this corner. I want what's
Oh,
here.
it's a left-wing show. Nope, left-wing show.
Clearly, it's a left-wing show, guys.
It's a big corporation.
Oh no.
He's against it.
To them, it would be a right-wing show because capitalism is bad and capitalism is franchising.
That's what I'm thinking about. Because the moment capitalism is in the topic, it has to be right-wing.
Yeah. Jeez. Anyway.
As do most Americans, if we're being honest. Now, I have this crazy worldview that as someone who is born, raised, and even still working class, I probably have a lot more in common than many want to admit, maybe even myself, with working class conservatives, even the ones that have very extreme social views. Because outside of
Hey, there's a
social
Bruce
issues,
Lee
I care about
picture.
things like higher wages,
Why is it
universal
in the
healthcare,
church?
Yeah, there's a
student
lot
debt forgiveness,
of pop culture references in this show, by the way. A lot of pop culture references, probably more than any other show, I think. Especially at
Even
the
more
time,
than
like,
The Simpsons.
I haven't seen enough of The Simpsons to say that.
I have
But
like strong
like
doubt.
they're like out of nowhere, they'll have like a Bruce Lee picture. Somehow they got the rights to all these 80s and 90s songs, and they're actually in the show. Like they actually use like Twisted Sister songs and Boston and like all kinds of 80s and 90s songs that they somehow got the rights to in this show, which really impressed me. You would never see that nowadays.
Yeah.
But yeah, lots and lots of pop culture references in this show.
I always was amazed by even video games who use licensing for song, like in GTA. Like, despite the rest of the game, the fact that
That's exactly the reason why they do not include those songs anymore whenever they have the fresh new Steam release.
Oh,
Like,
really?
oh god, like Vice City without the music. Like, come on.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't even bother.
That's
I'm
not
kidding.
their fault though. Like
I
it's
know,
like, I mean,
I know.
like the new Vice City sucks balls, but it's not their fault they couldn't get the music.
Yeah.
Of course. It's like the publisher, but still, it's just like, it's not the same experience.
Oh no, definitely, I agree.
Here is Porcelainus IV again. Fun fact, the U.S. Armed Forces in the Pacific Theater passed around pamphlets on how to identify different ethnicities of Asian people, since most of them had never seen an Asian person before. Interesting. And Asia and the Asian community and all the people in that part of the world, they're so diverse. Even China has 5 major cuisines and the people from them and how they grew and all the different ethnicities, cultures, practices, religions, languages. It's all gigantic, and we are world. That's why everyone should travel and get out of the house. Obviously, we couldn't past 2 years, but holy crap, what an opportunity nowadays! Now that people are back around traveling, and it's summertime in parts of the world, at least, you can get out of your house again. Hopefully, I heard it's not so good in China right now or Singapore, but. Maybe not this time of year, but eventually. All right.
The chat's cracking me up. This guy says the voice actor for Dale is anti-Trump, and then this guy says all voice actors are anti-Trump. Yeah.
It's pretty accurate, actually. I haven't met one specific voice actor except for the guy who plays Cullen in Dragon Age.
Vic Mignogna.
Well,
That's the only guy I can think of.
Pretty
And
much.
he's like so based that he cannot work anymore in the mainstream.
Yeah, that's how based he was.
All right.
universal basic income, and free college. All things that would help the working class, including working class conservatives. Whether or not working class conservatives vote according to those interests is a different story, but I support those things with the belief it will help those people as well, if not more than myself. Also, giving people more comfortable and secure living conditions with higher accessibility up the social ladder cuts down on social tension. In fact, I think part of the reason why a show like King of the Hill was able to succeed when it did was because it was mostly airing during a time of relative economic stability, mostly taking place during and after the Clinton administration in one of the strongest points of economic expansion in U.S. history.
Yeah, which has nothing to do with his presidency or the politics of the. What the fuck are you talking about? Ever heard of the internet, sir? You know what happened during the late 90s? We had it. It started up a gigantic .com bubble. Jeez, and then we revolutionized the world with all kinds of new technologies like Windows 98 and was it XP and God, the iPhone. Eventually, we had iPads and Microsoft Surface and all this other stuff. Yeah, the information age, not Bill Clinton. What the hell did he do?
Fucked the secretary.
I just don't know. Like,
That's all I remember him.
4 years, everyone got a surplus. It's like, what are you talking about? The dot-com bubble. What the hell do you think happened right after 2008? All that crazy money coming into the system.
Like, literally, I think one of the only times the show got inherently political, and it was just for a joke, was when all the characters were kind of in agreement that Bush should win. And then one of the characters, Luann, she's like this young blonde who's supposed to be dumb and naive, and she thinks that the guy running for the Communist Party is cute, so she becomes a communist. And then everyone is like, "Oh my God, she's a communist!" And that was like they were all in a like even characters that didn't care for Bush were like, "Oh God, she's a communist!" Like, and they were all in agreement on that, which was funny. But I mean, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
And it was just a joke.
Hoy. All right.
Prior to the economic crash in 2000.
Sorry, I'm
and though
late.
The show was still on the air. By
Hey.
Just got home.
How's it going?
Good, and yourself? How are you guys doing?
I'm great. We're watching this wonderful video. If you could join us, that'd be fantastic. And
Yeah, because I was watching a little bit, and apparently this guy's a leftist, right?
oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
He's not like
It's
the
weird
annoying.
because I've heard people not watch this show because they think it's alt-right or conservative.
If
It's
anything, it would make fun of that sort of
It
stereotype.
seems like central, yeah.
Yeah, so you'd watch it and sort of stupid
It's not.
rednecks.
It's not even. It's very. That's a stretch. To call it a conservative show, I think, is a stretch.
Right. All right.
Because it has red.
It's a traditional show where the character values traditional culture, and he plays the straight man to characters that don't.
Mhm.
That's about as far as that argument.
All right. Here is Legacy. Thanks for the 5. Fun fact, Dale Gribble has lifted a 210-pound cast iron sewer lid with one arm. He acquired this strength from smoking the Olympic flame. I wonder what Olympics that was. Was it the Winter Olympics?
Yes.
All right. Anyway.
Oh, by the way, I looked up the Mike Judge, the creator of the show. Judge denies having political messages in his show, saying in an interview of King of the Hill, "I try to not let the show get too political. To me, it's more social than political. I guess you would say because that's funnier. I don't really like political reference humor that much." Oh,
Yeah, because it was more about characters reacting to each other.
yeah, it is a social show.
What is the life of a suburban man with an average family and his crazy relationship and his family and friends with each other? That's the show. And it happens to involve American state affairs at that time. That was it.
Yeah, like even in the episode that involved Bush's election, it's like, well, yeah, that it was just the characters reacting to said election.
Right.
It's funny because there are people that think Mike Judge is a conservative libertarian. And that somehow bleeds
He is
into the
very
show.
libertarian. Like the shows that he has created also like speak for that. He just
Right.
doesn't give a fuck about mainstream
Right.
politics.
And even if he wasn't, I mean, the show should speak for itself. It should be easy to pick it apart.
Yes.
So all these people, whatever their
Also,
backgrounds
I don't
are,
think that the thing is, when I watch the credits after every episode, I don't think it just says Mike Judge. I think it says Mike Judge and Greg Daniels. I'm pretty sure
Yes.
it was a two-man team.
It is, but like he's the main guy. Like he came up.
Wait,
with-
was Greg Daniels the animator? Is that what it is? Where Mike Judge wrote it?
I think there are like two of them. Again, he was co-creating it, but I think like Mike Judge came up with the idea. King of the Hill. I will look it up quickly.
Okay.
By then, most people interpret the timeline of the universe not going too deep into the 2000s, so we don't really see the effects of that downturn. And this matters because it might sound crazy, but people tend to be less reactionary and more open-minded when the threat of extreme poverty isn't constantly knocking on their door. That's why back then, even if the social platform of the Republican Party could be a bit concerning,
that's the handshake with George Bush.
Movements like the Tea Party or QAnon bleeding into mainstream conservatism, which also plays into why King of the Hill socially works narratively. Even if the characters are Republican social conservatives, they exist in a time where that alone wasn't enough to be viewed as far right. Even if Dale does.
What?
What? Far right? What?
Why would being conservative be viewed as far right today? What are you talking about?
What changed in the last 10 years?
What is if I like, I don't know, some conservative policies like low taxes or whatever, how does that make anyone far right? This is strange.
Well, how does it make it evil now? Like that's what that's what he's trying to
please do not
for.
bring up January 6th. Please save me.
Luckily, this show ended in 2010, so
Yeah.
He's got connected with one of the episodes.
maybe 9/11. That might be something, but I doubt it.
We don't have Noah McDonald here right now.
9/11.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. That would be a very touchy subject.
They did. The only thing they depicted was Y2K, and it was a very silly episode.
Oh yeah, that was a thing.
They depicted Y2K, and it was very fun.
All right.
Show some of those tendencies at times. He might just be a libertarian, though, with the way he feels about the government, but King of the Hill is such an honest portrayal of the American people that manages to be simultaneously critical and charitable, and not even always in a socio-political sense, just on a personal level. You can love or hate just about any character, but you have to see them for their character flaws as well as their humanity. Peggy Hill is a controversial character for the fact that she does have a lot of narcissistic tendencies.
No, she's not a controversial character. It's pretty agreed upon in the community that she's the least likable character in the show. And it's almost like she's purposefully written to be extremely narcissistic and petty. Like sometimes she'll even be mean to Bobby just because he doesn't want her to do something that embarrasses him. She's extremely narcissistic and petty, obviously written that way on purpose. Like it's not like we're supposed to find it endearing. We're supposed to hate it and be annoyed by it. That's actually one thing my roommate and I are curious about, is why they would write the character to be so annoying, because it's just unpleasant sometimes. Like it's not even charming or funny, it's just annoying sometimes. So that's one character that gets kind of annoying.
Did it get worse every season?
Yeah. It gets worse each season. And it's just consistent. Like every episode, like it's gotten to the point, like by season 5, she has something smart alecky and annoying to say every episode, and it's like it's just cringy. but the thing is, you can tell that we're clearly supposed to find the character cringy, so I don't know why they even do it. It was
feminism. I don't know.
No, because the show has episodes about feminism where Hank is the straight man to the feminism, where we're supposed to find it bad. Right. When feminism shows up, we're clearly supposed to look at the character like they're a nut job. Like Hank sees this character, like this girl wearing a feminism shirt, and he looks down at the shirt, and she's like, "What? They're breasts. So what?" And then he's just like, "Okay," and then she walks away. But Peggy Hill it's weird the way they wrote Peggy Hill, because she was written to be annoying, and we're supposed to find her annoying, like clearly. So it's like, why even write the character that way if all it's gonna do is be annoying? Like just showcasing how much of a bitch she is.
They've never given an explanation, the writers themselves.
I don't think so. Not that I know of. I would actually be really curious about that. My question, if I was a journalist, or if I was asking Mike Judge or whatever, or Greg Daniels, I'd be like, why did you purposefully write Peggy Hill to be so annoying? And I would be curious what his answer is. Because you're clearly supposed to disagree with her. Like, one of the running gags is that she does not learn lessons from her narcissism. She will pursue a goal out of arrogance, and then learn that she can't do it, but remain arrogant nonetheless. She doesn't learn lessons from being arrogant or narcissistic, and we're supposed to be annoyed by her. But it's like, that's just annoying. Why would you depict it?
Right.
So I would be curious about that.
Yeah, in a social setting where it's slice of life and you have this obnoxious character who doesn't change or learn anything, it gets old really quickly. The same way you have a plot-specific episodic story. Star Trek has like Wesley Crusher, or just these characters are just in the way. They're either hyperactive or they're dumb or they're not aware of the scenario. They're just solving everything or just can't do anything. They're like excess baggage. Like Raffi from Picard.
I wouldn't compare it to Wesley Crusher. Wesley Crusher was a Mary Sue, where he would be able to solve problems that he shouldn't be able to solve.
Yeah.
This character, she sometimes causes problems in the show, so she's clearly written to be wrong. Like, we're supposed to disagree with her.
Yeah, the thing is,
so I'm just curious why they did that.
Yeah, we had that with Raffi in Picard. She's just causing issues or trying to cause issues, and she doesn't really provide anything to the plot. Whereas Wesley, in a plot about exploring the galaxy and all the weird stuff that happens, he's like the techno wonder kid who can just save the day, and you're like, oh, here we go, Wesley. And
yeah.
So it's the same idea if the setting and the plot were understood. Same concept with, I don't know exactly what plots would revolve around her, like, I don't know, bake sales, and she wants to be the best baker or whatever.
Yeah, she thinks that she's the best. So, like, if they were to do that with her, she would think that she was the best on the block.
Yeah.
And then she wouldn't make good sales, and she'd be like, well, that's just because they just don't understand that my baking is amazing. She's kind of like a comic writer nowadays. Pretty much what she is like.
You think maybe it's written on a personal level? Maybe he knew a woman like that?
Maybe.
I don't know.
That could be it.
Who knows
Could be it.
why people make cartoons on TV just to vent their frustrations.
The best way I can describe it is they'll, like, Mike Judge and Greg Daniels will have this character, Peggy Hill, walk into this room, and my roommate and I will just wait as viewers. We'll just wait for her to say something annoying. She'll say something, and we'll look at each other and roll our eyes at how annoying it was. But it seems like the writer wanted us to look at each other and roll our eyes. So it's like, but why would you even do that? That's just unpleasant.
Maybe he was unpleasant at the time. He wants you to feel what he feels.
Alrighty.
Everything about herself. But it is also understood that this comes from the walls she was faced with growing up as an ambitious girl who didn't meet the traditional standards of femininity. Why is that so hard to say? Femininity. And that's kind of a mild example where you can acknowledge this is the case and decide for yourself that's something that greatly outweighs whatever negatives Peggy Hill might have. You might think it doesn't even pale in comparison. You might acknowledge that those things were unfair and it's admirable that Peggy came out the other side as successful as she is, and you can also acknowledge at the same time how insufferable she is. Then you got someone like Cotton Hill, who is an abusive, chauvinistic pig,
everybody
yet
loves
still
this
has
guy.
redeeming
He's
qualities, mostly in regards to his relationship with his grandson, Bobby. Even for someone like myself who doesn't think Cotton's sympathetic moments outweigh the abuse he's...
Well, this character is just Cotton Hill. He's just unsympathetically chauvinistic. So it's really funny. Like, he refers to Hank's wife as Hank's wife. Like, he goes like Hank's wife? Like, that's what he calls her, Hank's wife. That's what he calls her.
Even when he's alone with her, like, hey, Hank's wife.
Yes. Even when he's alone with her, he calls her Hank's wife. It's really funny.
Oh boy. Hey, Smud, I just got a message. It says Mike Testa wants to be in the panel.
Sure, if he wants, it's fine. It's a short video.
Now the thing is, like, my roommate and I actually talked about Cotton Hill, about how if there was a modern interpretation of the character, they would make him like really weak and frail because they would want to punish the character for being chauvinistic. But this show doesn't do that. Yes, he's unapologetically chauvinistic. Yes, it's supposed to be obnoxious and funny. But he was also like a Vietnam veteran. So there's one episode where someone calls him a Nazi, and he's like, "Nazi? Who you calling a Nazi?" And then he headbutts the guy and beats the shit out of him. It's great. It's fucking great.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Well, because they fought the Nazis. So he's like, "Nazi? Who are you calling a Nazi?" Just headbutts them and then beats the shit out of them. I think he was in World War II and Vietnam. Yeah, he says Nazi. That's how he says it.
It was one of Luann's roommates there. He goes, "What are you doing, Nazi?" He's like, "You got me a Nazi?"
Yeah, Nazi.
Come on, tap
Who do
T.
you call it a Nazi? And then he headbutts him and walks in and beats the shit out of him, and then it ends the episode. It was great.
That's clearly
tell me there was a song playing.
Yeah, that's clearly a political message nowadays. If you call someone a Nazi, all of a sudden you're having a political discussion.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Oh yeah, I forgot. This is supposed to be about how King of Hell uses politics. How does
Oh,
it
right.
use politics in order to what?
You know, we're still waiting. I don't know. He hasn't given examples
Yeah.
of political stories or plots or characters.
All he's doing is, like, he's saying, I'm going to explain how this show is political, and then he just started summarizing the episodes. That's all he did.
Yeah, the one episode had a what was it? A collective store? Like, what was that about? You just donate
So
stuff?
there was, well, no, it was a store that had to do with, I think, getting A5 meat or something. And
Really?
because the Megalomart, I think it was because the Megalomart purchased all of that meat and he didn't want to purchase it from there. It was something like that, where it was hard to get that meat now. It was something like that, where there was some kind of regulatory issue in his local government. I don't remember, but the point was he then started. There was a small business that was continuing to sell that meat, so he was helping them by giving them his time. Like he was just doing volunteer work for the business because he wanted to be able to distribute that meat. I think was what it was, if I recall right.
Fair enough.
I don't understand what that has to do with politics.
Well, I mean, it comes from the guy who claims to be conservative, yet demonizes conservatism. Lovely.
Yeah, I hate people that do that. It's so annoying.
Well, how do you do, my fellow conservatives? Totally not making that.
Yeah, I saw that in the chat. Yeah.
All right. There we go.
Put people through, I'd rather have those moments than not. Partly because it shows the range of Cotton's character, but also because it shows that someone as abrasive and grating as him is still just a pathetic old man at the end of the day. It shows that the cost of being a toxic little gremlin is living a sad life that even being a decorated war hero doesn't always make up for. Cotton
Still
is a
take him
more
over
extreme example,
Peggy.
but every character has some level of
Yeah.
individuality. Every character makes mistakes and has low points, but they also have moments where they get to shine. And something I really appreciate is the fact that this isn't limited to white cast members. There's this weird idea that positive representation in media means you have to always have characters who are pure and clean, representing marginalized groups, which, with all due respect, is dumb. If that was the attitude in King of the Hill, you would be taking away from those characters everything I just described.
Smartest
Dunn, for
thing
example,
he said.
He's an asshole, just straight up. He's one of the most obnoxious
And
characters
probably
in the show, and
contradict
I
him, because
love
he'll
it.
probably
Let him be
do
an
it later.
asshole.
What the hell kind of country is this where I can only hate a man if he's white?
Let Min be a passive-aggressive snob. It doesn't change
Yeah, that
the fact
episode
that the
was
Super Newsom
he
phones are
found
a
Khan to
social
be
commentary
rude, so
on
everyone
moral
was calling him
minority.
racist. He's like, no, I hate the man because he's rude. It was funny. It was really funny. There's one episode where his dog bites the repairman who happens to be black. So then people think that he trained his dog to bite black people.
And then he took a
Oh
fucking
my
test.
god.
He took a test where it's like, what's called, the guy from one of the previous episodes goes, "Don't worry, Hank, I won't make you racist." And then he takes the test, and it's like, "Wow, you're racist." It's like,
Yeah,
what
I remember
the
that.
fuck?
No, that
What
wasn't what it
happened to
was. That wasn't what the test was. It was a test they were taking at work just to kill time, and it would say who you preferred to hang around. And when he took it, it said he strongly prefers to be around white people, and then everyone looked at him angrily. But then when Peggy took it, it said you strongly prefer to be around black people, and then everyone smiled at her.
I like where's this leading to. Oh boy.
And I remember the one with the dog where at the end of the episode the dog bites a white repairman and he's really relieved because it turns out the dog just doesn't like repairmen because when someone repairs his house it irritates him and the dog senses that he's irritated. So he's like, oh thank God the dog bit a white guy.
And even then, that would not be a political story.
No.
The dog is political, yeah.
Dog's political. It bit someone.
It's a racist dog.
We have to put it down, Hank.
All right.
attributed to Asian Americans, coming into a southern white community, being met with racism from the jump, and feeling the need to prove that they are better than their white neighbors just to be allowed to exist in their community. A point where this theme was very present was when Khan and Min were trying to get Connie into a college summer school, but because of the model minority thing working against Asians when it comes to affirmative action, Connie got denied despite her exceptional credentials.
And no matter how hard I work or how hard Connie studies, we all just stuck here.
Leading Khan to spiral into hillbilly lifestyle, pulling Min down with him, in a rebellion against the expectations of being an Asian American held to unrealistic standards of excellence. And this was an episode that used a systemic issue to create a situation that told us a lot about each member of the Supernus Phone family. And in my research, I also found that Khan is actually meant to be a lot more conservative than his neighbors, which makes a lot of sense. What most people don't realize is there are a lot of immigrants, especially from Khan's generation, who hold very hard conservative beliefs. That's usually what draws them here in the first place. Part of it is also the fact that they usually come from authoritarian governments that mimic a lot of left-wing economic policies, so America providing the opposite of that is a sanctuary in comparison. But that's also partly because America can't let a far-left populist leader be democratically elected and stay in power in any country who have any power to destabilize at a moment's notice.
What?
I don't know what he's
That
talking
came
about.
out of complete nowhere.
Whoa.
Yeah.
This is, like I said, it's the part where, as soon as he's got you nice and buttered up, then he springs the propaganda on.
Yeah, seriously.
Is this the joke, or
He was just mentioning how immigrants from countries that have left-leaning groups or political parties come to America to live the life they want because they believe in freer economies or low taxes or what have you. And then he's now attacking America because they attacked some country, Chile, that had a socialist president. You're like, what? Okay.
because he's the leftist one?
I think
maybe the guy shouldn't have been the socialist.
I don't know. America attacks a lot of people over the years. I don't know what's the.
Just ask Japan.
How is that connected to King of the Hill?
Yeah.
Is that how King of Hill uses politics? They use this
God dang it, Bobby.
Salvador Allende?
God dang it, Bobby! I'm trying to use Marxist theory to get my lawnmower work. God,
He wants to self-propane in Chile.
It could be Allende. I don't know how you pronounce it.
I know Glib can do a perfect impression.
Yeah, he's really good at impressions.
All right. Anyway.
Sometimes I think like he's Mike Judge himself, but I gotta confirm that sound.
God fucking damn it, Bobby.
Well, like he's actually writing the show?
Yes. Or maybe he's the motion actor.
Oh, hey, that could work.
Then we could ask him, hey, what was the politics in Volk?
All right. Anyway, here's his little rant about Chile.
But I ain't gonna have that conversation in a video about King of the Hill. As the Supernus phones assimilate over the course of the series, and their white neighbors who have never been exposed to Asian Americans on a personal level have the opportunity to know them and see them for who they are, eventually they are not so much disliked for the color of their skin, but for the content of their character, the American dream. Unironically, I think King of the Hill is one of the better examples of representation for Asian Americans. Similarly, it puts a lot more efforts than most into portraying what it's like to be Native American. John Redcorn tends to be a pretty
Oh god, I can't stand John Redcorn. He's such a piece of shit.
He's a deadbeat
loser. Yeah, he's a loser. He lives in a fucking trailer. Yeah, he lives in a fucking trailer, right?
He's ironic that
the guy's wife. I mean,
it's funny how he tried to cuck Dan, and he ends up cucking him by now.
The thing is, the idea is the character is a deadbeat that's constantly talking about how the white man took his land, but it's like you're a deadbeat. That's like it's not the white man's fault that you're a deadbeat.
Wait, so is it the same issue with what was the woman, his wife, right? Where they're written to just be unlikable, not funny?
Kind of. It's a little bit. It's hard to explain.
With Redcorn, he's just a walking contradiction.
But yes, he is another unlikable character. Yes.
Is that good representation? I don't know why he shoved that in there.
I don't see how John Redcorn is good representation. He's written to be a loser. The guy lives in a trailer.
You're a loser.
The guy lives in a trailer. He all he does is work as a massage guy that sleeps with people's wives. He lives in a trailer.
Better than white people.
He talks about how the white man betrayed him. Meanwhile, the guy lives in a fucking trailer.
Oh, but it's okay. He gets better. He just sings to children about how he wants to kill himself. that was a thing in the later season.
What the fuck?
Okay.
Like
well, still nothing to do with politics, but that's fine.
The entire
politics because it's native.
Dale's wife Nancy is having an affair with him, and he is the legitimate father of Nancy and Dale's son Joseph. John Redcorn embodies a different stereotype in the way that black and indigenous men tend to be fetishized, sexualized, and objectified, not just by white people, but usually by white people. And maybe I just have a different view on John Redcorn since I'm inclined to identify with him for reasons, but I see his relationship
I don't
with
think
Nancy a bit
anybody identifies with this guy but you, buddy.
Wait, he's native? The YouTuber?
Oh, he's native. That doesn't mean anything nowadays.
I don't think anybody identifies with this fucking guy but you. Nobody likes John Redcorn. He's an asshole.
He's a black indigenous man. Is that a... I've never heard that, actually.
He's an asshole.
Yeah. All right.
And I don't really vibe with how quickly people jump to demonize him. I actually did the math based on inconsistent numbers.
I wonder why.
What if John Redcorn finds out? 14 years we've been together and I throw it all away.
I'm 36 years old. I don't need this crap.
Nancy would have started her affair when she was in her early 30s, and John Redcorn would have been in his early 20s, which isn't illegal or anything, but the thought of a married woman in her 30s hooking up with someone my age does set off some alarms. Like, if that was my homie, I would be concerned. Not that I'm saying John Redcorn is the victim or anything, he's definitely complicit, but I definitely think Nancy holds more responsibility for the situation relative to John Redcorn.
No, they're both pieces of shit.
They're both pieces of shit. And
they both need to take responsibility.
Life, let alone have an opportunity to raise him. And yeah, it's a situation of you reap what you sow.
John Redcorn's a jerk off because what he does is he when Nancy doesn't want to have the affair with him anymore, he hates Dale for taking his son away. And it's like, you dug your own grave, dude.
Yeah, he could have had something beautiful, but he chose to be a louse. So now he deserves all the shit he gets.
Pretty much. Yeah, the guy's an asshole. I don't identify with him at all. The guy's
But apparently that's demonizing. Okay.
I felt more bad when Cotton Hill died than this guy bitching about his son. Yeah. Man, get over it. You fucked up, man.
Does the son even like him?
No, he thinks he's weird because it's like in the very episode.
The son doesn't even know. Yeah, the son doesn't even know.
Like he goes, "Hey there, Joseph. I got you a bite. Can you please hang out?"
Why wouldn't you tell him?
I mean, it's
that's one of the few things is that when the affair ends, John Redcorn attempts to tell Dale out of spite, but he feels guilty doing so he doesn't do it. Probably the one good thing about him, I guess.
So here's Carlos Batista. Thank you, sir. Doesn't Redcorn's son Joseph hate him and likes Dale more?
Yes, because
he likes Dale more, which is just karma. Which is just karma.
All right. Well, this is all interpersonal relationships, family life, living.
It's not. Exactly. It's interpersonal relationships. It's not political. In fact, the episode where John Redcorn gets most political, where he's talking about how the white man stole his land, is meant to be him projecting because he's actually angry at Dale for stealing his son. He feels that Dale stole his son. So he says he's angry at the white man for stealing his land, but he's projecting. He's actually upset at Dale. And then once Hank helps him get over that, he stops talking about the white man, at least in that episode. So he's not a political character. He just projects that, at least in that episode about the affair.
All right.
King of the Hill. But I definitely identify more with Joseph than John Redcorn for a variety of reasons. Partly because I watched a lot of King of the Hill as I was becoming a teenager, so I did identify more with the kids than the adults. And also because I relate a lot more to being a native kid growing up with a quote-unquote white experience than being a native who grew up within the culture.
What is the white experience?
He didn't grow up within the culture. He's alone and he lives in a fucking trailer.
Got to actual rep is Joseph, who has been
he just insists that he's this mystical native guy. He lives up to the stereotype.
Sorry, you were saying.
I was gonna pause it, but I was too far. The thing is, John Redcorn just lives up to the stereotype of being a mystical native because he wants to seem attractive to married women. He's not actually someone that grew up within the culture. He just fucking he just like hangs feathers up in his house to get white women wet.
Oh boy.
I'm serious. That's what the character does, and he was written that way.
Yeah,
like,
he's
I don't
like
understand how you could identify with him.
You know, he acts like he's this old wise guy, but he acts like he's in his fucking teens still.
Yeah.
Wait, could we rewind that a little? Because we kind of talked over the child.
Yeah.
I relate a lot more to being a native kid growing up with a quote-unquote white experience than being a native who grew up within the culture. And then there's there being hundreds of tribes with different cultures, and it's a whole thing. So the closest I've got to actual rep is Joseph, who has been socialized with this weird you're white but also you're not white thing that I also grew up with. And I feel like saying I've never seen a show portray that specific experience of mine would be an understatement, because my expectations wouldn't even be high enough to expect that specific experience in the first place. And it's really funny how I say this and think about how I tell people this is one of my favorite shows, and they're like, how is this one of your favorite shows about a bunch of hillbillies? That don't make any sense. Well, let's bring it back to that point, because let's be honest, the characters I'm talking about make up a fraction of the show. Even though I like what they contribute, and they are good examples of how the characters exist in Shades of Grey in a lot of ways, King of the Hill is about the king himself, Hank Hill, and his family. And the thing about Hank is you can tell he's a smart guy and has a lot of common sense and positive values, but because of the culture and environment he was raised in, between straight-laced but sometimes backward southern values that have their pros and cons, on top of the trauma of trying to live up to Cotton's hypermasculine expectations, he has a lot to work through. I know some people might think I'm implying that somehow what I think is right and what Hank thinks is wrong, but I think everyone has a lot of assumptions about the world and the way things are or will be that might change when you actually confront those things in real life. And King of the Hill is about Hank confronting those things and usually changing his mind. It's just a coming-of-age story for a middle-aged man who seems stuck in his ways, but
that's not coming of age. That's midlife issues. There's nothing.
Crisis.
It's not.
What is this guy talking?
Coming of age.
Coming of age.
How old is Hank Hill? How old is Hank Hill?
He's probably in his 40s or 30s.
Yeah, around there.
Coming of age.
Yeah, he does not have a form of self-actualization. He just changes his views on individual things depending on the episode, or doesn't, depending on the episode.
Yeah, it sounds
like...
like...
make it a coming of age. Coming of age refers to the character achieving some form of self-actualization. Hank doesn't have that. He just has individual conflicts.
Right. Like every episodic story out there where...
I was just about to say that.
Yeah. This is like Star Trek. This is like any sitcom.
Simpsons.
Yeah, anything. Pick anything.
Picard is a coming of age story.
It's a coming of age sitcom.
You probably.
This is the first time I hear.
That's why it's so weird.
Yeah, you're probably safer saying The Simpsons is a coming of age story because there's actually more kids in that story, but they never age. They're always in their early teens or whatever.
South Park is a coming of age story.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Being stuck in an age story.
Oh.
Is the Rugrats a coming of age story?
Don't know about that one. That's a bit weird. Here's the Copperell for 5. This guy is a liar. Hank only liked the co-op for their deli. Can I join? If so, how do I join? I can do a good Dale impression. If you're in the Discord, we could definitely add you to the chat. What you got to do is you have to friend me and say hello, and therefore.
And you have to say it in the Dale Gribble impression.
Yes.
Using text, yes.
So if you have the technical know-how to download Discord and log in and make a username and see me or join the Discord through our link in the description, you could then message me and I'll find you that way. So go for it.
He needs to also do a Boomhauer expression too.
Okay.
Dang old man, you're crazy old.
Dang old chew, man.
Yeah, well, choo. Fire.
Okay. Anyway, we only got a few more minutes. I don't know how long we're going to be, but this guy is, I don't know. He seems.
Do we have a second video lined up?
No, this is the only one.
Yeah,
just this one today?
This was the reason why we're doing this is because we have another panelist who wanted to cover the first pick, but he couldn't make it today, so we're doing that later. But yeah, this was fun. I didn't want a long one anyway. This is okay, but man, missing the argument entirely. I'm just waiting for something to happen at the end. Hopefully, the last 2 minutes we'll get something, but I just don't see it happening. Anyway,
we're gonna get off track. That's what's gonna happen.
Well, I can't see this guy as selling like Squarespace or whatever merch. So,
King of the Hill using politics is about Squarespace, sponsored by Squaresoft.
Yeah, something like that. Anyway, here we go.
Still finds himself learning and growing, especially when it comes to his son Bobby. Now, there are some amazing videos out there covering Hank and Bobby's relationship and how it contributes to both of their growth, and by some amazing videos, I mean this one, but I want to discuss more why this happens than how. Bobby is a foil to Hank in the way that he represents youth that is bright-eyed, open-minded, and idealistic. Meanwhile, Hank is older, wiser, but jaded. A lot of Hank's ignorance comes from the fact that he has very stern beliefs informed by the environment he was raised in. He had to find value in the expectations of the world around him, which came from being a star football player, being good with his hands, and being an all-around hard worker. To some degree, I do get the sense that Hank does look down on, or maybe even resents others who didn't come from such harsh situations that would have pushed them the way he was. So when you look at Bobby, who had a much better environment to come up in, he doesn't feel the same need to seek out validation from his interests, and has the luxury of following comedy because it calls to him, which is something that Hank has trouble accepting for most of the series. And the relationship between Bobby and Hank is awesome because as much as they are different, the fact they are father and son puts an intrinsic desire into both of them to bond. Actually, no, I want to give Hank more credit than that. Most of the mutual desire comes from the fact that Hank wants to be a good father to Bobby, and Bobby knows that even if Hank gets angry with him or doesn't understand him, his father only wants what's best for him at the end of the day. The effect of that is that Bobby learns real-life skills from his father, like the value of hard work, and Hank gets to experience the world beyond his otherwise narrow point of view, making him more tolerant to change over time. And as these things unfold, Hank and Bobby become closer. But even in these cases, the text never portrays things with a broad stroke. Though change can be good, there are times where it's not practical or needs to be reined in. And though honest work is an objectively good value, there are times in the system we live under where you are going to be exploited and you need to stick up for yourself. So when it comes to the political framing of King of the Hill, I think the point is to elaborate on different perspectives so they're understood without being preached. The fact it's a fictional universe makes it so...
Wait. Political perspectives? Which political perspectives? What are you talking about? Where?
I don't know. He seems to just be... He says something that's actually pretty good, but then he just throws in the word political for some reason.
Well, he's not talking about politics. He's not talking about the themes of, I don't know, some legislation or what people are like. He's just saying conservative values. You're like, what is that? What do you mean? Hard work?
He didn't even bring up conservative values. Yeah, he was just talking about Hank being hardworking.
Yeah,
he was just like,
I don't think that's...
He just randomly threw in the word political at the end.
Yeah, I don't think hard work has anything to do with being left or right-leaning. That's kind of weird.
He clearly doesn't know what being conservative
is. What does being a father have to do with politics?
Don't know. I wish I knew.
Because was he teaching him like what political spectrum he should be on, or
I don't know.
It's like, I don't even.
No, don't you know, Eric? Being a father is now conservative.
Well,
so when you're a father,
there's the ongoing jokes that you start off as a younger kid and you're liberal minded, you're free thinking, and then you get older. And you're like, oh, geez, I got bills to pay. I got reality to come, and therefore I'm more right leaning because I like lower taxes and I like having my own ownership of things and yada yada. So that could be the general understanding of this, but he didn't even bring that up. He just says, yeah, he's right leaning, therefore it's political. You're like, where is it?
Yeah.
I don't remember the kid ever caring about politics.
Anyway.
Characters get the charitability to be unlikable, yet heard out for what they believe, where they came from, and what's important to them. And sometimes those things might align with you even if you don't think you'd agree. That's why I also think King of the Hill is a great example of adult animation. Because to fully appreciate the story, you need to be mature enough to at least pick up on and be open to that nuance, even if you don't fully understand it. I also think the practice of understanding people you might not like or agree with, even if it doesn't change your stance on them, is an important practice, and seeing those people move more towards your own values, or potentially even showing you the value of a different point of view, just makes for satisfying storytelling.
Okay, so this is as close as we get. He's saying because he's right-leaning and he doesn't agree with his politics, he likes the show because it allows him to at least contribute or involved in the conversation between people he doesn't normally talk to, or something.
Okay.
Why don't you just go outside and talk to people?
That's too dangerous. You can't do that.
Oh, yeah. Well, maybe with leftists, but yeah.
I don't know. In general, maybe he thinks people who are right-leaning are going to like argue against him or something. I don't know what the problem is.
With their AK-47s, okay.
I don't know.
I think he's just afraid that they'll win the argument.
I don't know.
Like always? Oh, okay.
I don't know what his point is.
He's a big baby. A big dirt bottle.
All right. Well, here's more super chats. Thank you, Carlos. My favorite episode is when Hank meets his Japanese brother who sells robots and robot accessories. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that was a funny episode.
That sounds awesome. You have a brother who's from Japan who's selling robots? That's cool.
Yes, I remember that
robot
one.
accessories.
He's how it transforms.
And we got Joe Crazy. Didn't Bobby find out that John Redcorn's tribe practiced cannibalism after he guilt tripped him?
Yes.
Holy shit.
Yes,
Cannibalism?
It was very funny. It was very funny.
That was the line that Bobby said.
That was the Thanksgiving episode.
Ooh, nice.
John Redcorn finally gets his fucking comeuppance.
All right. Well, we got
what was great was that Bobby said it on his behalf. He was like, "We should respect John Redcorn's cannibalistic practices," and everyone was like, "Oh my god, get out of my house!"
He ain't doing massages no more.
Yeah. Well, we have 1 minute left, and I think we've exhausted his knowledge of King of the Hill's relation to politics.
So anyways, I want to hear what you think.
That's it. Yeah, he literally just finished.
Yeah, that's it.
Wow, this
We're
is
not
a
gonna
round
hear that
table.
impression. God damn it.
Yeah.
That was fun. I enjoyed that.
All right. Do we have any stream memes? I doubt it, but who knows? Maybe we have some.
No, we got streaming.
We have a couple.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, by a couple, you mean a lot?
I know people like the
100
show
of them.
back in the day, and people enjoyed it. Well, good for them. Alrighty, Legacy. What is going on here? King of the Hill and
Guilty Gear, maybe?
I can't quite tell.
Oh, and
Anime here, man.
I think the funnier thing is King of the Hill is on the whole sub versus dub thing somehow now.
Oh, really?
That's actually pretty funny.
There's
where it's like they have like the Japanese voice acting with like English subtitles, and they try to mimic as close to the American voice acting as possible.
Yeah, well,
Is that Hank Hill and Soul Bad Guy?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Soul Bad Guy. I was like, that's the only thing that looks like him.
Where did you find this?
Legacy. I don't know, man. Weird stuff. What's the background laughing? I don't get what's happening here. Anyway,
I don't know.
Bobby and
Rouge the Bat.
Bobby beating up Rouge the Bat.
Yeah, that's a bit weird. What are these referencing though? I don't know.
It's the JoJo OVA.
Oh, this is a JoJo scene?
Yes. From the OVA at least.
Oh, okay. As you can tell, King of the Hill is my favorite Texas anime. And there we have
Yu Yu Hakusho, King of the Hill.
That is definitely JoJo.
That's Kuwabara.
Shut the hell up, Urameshi.
Shut the hell up, Urameshi.
Alright, Bobby's new phase. I'll watch that later. Propene. Jeez.
Oh, they switched faces. That's funny.
This is actually disturbing.
That's kind of, yeah. Ooh.
Mike Judge as a kid.
That's great. I love it. This world shall know propane.
This world shall know propane.
And we've got. Oh, come on. That's silly.
Oh no.
That's just silly. I'm not joking about the 210-pound feet Dale pulled off. Here's the video you could watch later. Thank you. Dale Cribbage, the pinnacle of power in fiction. All right. Thank you. Another one.
40 minutes.
Really? All right. I will watch it later. Another video I will also watch later from Cyrek. Don't know what is there, but I'll check it out. Mateus, oh God, I just stabbed a parking attendant. Where's the button to turn myself in? Oh.
That tells so much about his character.
Bobby about to fight Perfect Cell. I like that.
I relate to Cotton a lot with this quote. Sorry I'm late. I had to stop by the Wax Museum to give the finger to FDR.
That was actually a quote, yeah.
Oh, jeez.
That's not a meme, that's just a flat out quote.
Thor Hill. Okay.
All right.
What?
Chris Hemsworth says, oh no.
Okay.
Mateus, what?
Tom Hill.
Tom Hill.
That's
Nah, that wouldn't
doesn't
work.
quite, yeah.
Short Hank doesn't work as much as actual Hank.
And here oh, yeah, Jesus. Wonder what his stand name might be.
I
Are you
like those legs, by the way.
It's got to be named after the like the joke comedy name he had, where it's like the Propaniacs.
Okay. Are you attempting to know me? Is that his understanding of a girl hitting on him? I don't know. What's going on there? Oh boy. Here's she cheated Hank. I knew about Nancy and John Redcorn. I knew about them the day Joseph was born, but every day since he was born, I've been taking my revenge. That boy, he loves me, Hank. He loves me. John Redcorn will never get. He'll never hear his boy
We need
tell
someone
him.
to read this in Dale's.
In Dale's
Wait, I
voice.
want to do it. She cheated. Hank. I knew about Nancy and John Redcorn. I knew about the day Joseph was born. But every day since he was born, I've been taking my revenge. That boy, he loves me, Hank. He loves me, Hank. John Redcorn will never get. He'll never hear from that boy. Tell him that Joseph will go to his grave loving me and never so much as looking at Redcorn's direction. His children, his grandchildren, they'll love me too, Hank. And they'll never know John Redcorn even existed. That's revenge, Hank. Just like when that former Soviet Union resurrected Lenin to cause the housing crisis in America as revenge.
What the fuck?
Well, this is a great
he
quote here.
reveals his true nature, but then just to hide it again, he just goes back to mumbling about something conspiracy.
My roommate's favorite quote in King of the Hill is posted here, where Bobby is talking to his dad about getting a steak. Yep, these are medium rare. What if somebody wants them well done? We ask them politely yet firmly to leave.
He's right.
Oh dear. I've been noticing a Razor Fist on Twitter talking about how steak is so good, well done, and he's even showing that Trump likes his steak well done with ketchup, and I'm just like, dude,
okay,
that is not an argument.
He's been falling. Wow.
Like from all the things that Razorfist has been sharing, like in the past, like that, I think that just takes the cake. There's just no going back from that.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. Okay, yep, these are medium rare. What is somebody? Yeah, this is the whole thing.
If you want, I can show you how to make a bomb out of a roll of toilet paper and a stick of dynamite.
Okay.
Akira, but hey.
Okay, yeah, okay, that's cute.
It's so dumb.
Oh, this is bad. That is just horrible.
Dragon Ball One Piece Naruto.
Oh my god. A beer.
Of course, it has to be Ichigo because Bleach was cancelled.
Yeah. Beer is depressant, Hank. Don't go blaming the beer. Okay. Sir, if you're calling me a liar, you better be holding something stronger than an umbrella. 9 iron. Y'all have a nice day.
You're fucking 9 iron. Yeah, that was great.
He's got a wrench.
9 iron.
No,
it's a club. Oh yeah, the other guy's got a wrench. Yeah.
All right. Unidentified special needs child.
There's an episode, I think, where Bobby and his friends pretend to be special needs children to cut in the rides there.
You Americans, you're so gosh darn ignorant and self-centered. Tell me who our prime minister is. Why?
Why?
Last one. You obviously bought this at a grocery store. You try something like that again, and I'll double your sentence.
Okay, this is very hard to explain. I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to explain this to you. So what happened was, there was an episode where Hank tries to buy fishing bait. But what happens is, the guy selling his normal fishing bait commits arson because his store is going out of business. He gets away with it, by the way. So he goes to purchase. Yes, yeah, he did. He did. The guy that he talks to, that guy committed arson. That was, and in a later episode, we see he got away with it and gets another store. But I don't know. But so there's that. I don't know if that was related to bait, but I thought I could make this more cryptic by mentioning it. So what happens is he's not able to get the usual bait. So he has to go to a different place to get it, and he ends up accidentally getting drugs from a dealer and using it as bait. Right?
He uses crack.
That's what happens. Yeah, and it works really well. But what happens is the fish adapt to the bait so that it no longer works. And by this point, he gets caught, and they think that he's using the drugs. And he was like, "No, I was using it as fishing bait." So the judge is like, "Okay, I'm going to give you a break. If you can prove to me that you can catch fish with this bait, then I will believe you and let you go." But by that point, the fish already adapted to it. So this was what happened there. Now the joke will make sense.
All right.
You need context for this one.
Yeah, it's a bit strange, but sounds like their humor is a bit more complicated than.
This is a funny one.
Episode, yeah.
Yeah.
Guns don't kill people. The government does.
Alrighty. One more super chat.
Yeah, so what happened was, it looks like Dale bought a frozen bass and pretended to catch it. And the guy was like, "If you try that again, I'll double your sentence." And Hank is like, "Dale, you idiot. If you're going to cheat, why would you make it a frozen bass?" And he says, "I had a coupon."
For fish? What the hell?
Yeah.
Anyway, Carlos, Hank Hill's stand name, Propane Nightmare, stand cry. What? Oh dear. Well, that was I wasn't expecting much, but he just sort of meandered around the idea. He didn't have any evidence, and we just sort of sat there waiting for something, and it didn't happen. So But yeah, it seems like a liked show for going on for over a decade, so that's pretty cool. And I don't know if we have anything else like that nowadays, or what we compare it to aside from The Simpsons and Family Guy and American Dad and stuff like that.
Yeah, either.
Yeah, it's just not the same style. It's very slow. The humor is slow. It's not punchy. It's not quick. So,
it's a very relaxed show. Some of it isn't even trying to be funny. It's just chill.
Right. Slice of life. Anyway, thank you guys. That was not so bad. That was easy. Hopefully we'll do the next one tomorrow, which is about video gaming, and we'll cover that video. We'll still be voting. We'll still have suggestions coming in.
I think he wanted to do it Was it Thursday? Because he said he's
Thursday,
not
yeah.
available
Because
today.
even tomorrow he's gotta be busy.
Okay, no problem. We can have a day off tomorrow for everyone, if that's fine. If not, we can keep going depending on who's available.
Okay.
So thank you guys for the suggestions. That was not bad. The video was kind of silly, but it was fun to talk about. And thanks for Yokai for popping in and giving us that wonderful knowledge of the show, which I haven't watched in a long, long time. So thank you, sir. And Mike Testa also, thanks for popping in and saying hello.
Thank you.
Yeah. Always nice to have people who know what the hell they're talking about. It's always very helpful for me. And anyway, we'll talk to you guys soon. Have yourself a great evening. Bye-bye now.